Pizza fans from across the globe, welcome back to Slice and Sip, podcast by the Pizza Gang here at Dom DeMarco's Pizzeria and Wine Bar. My name is Tommy Canala. We are at 9785 West Charleston Boulevard here in Las Vegas, Nevada. We are inside today, not on the patio. We're inside Albert's beautiful restaurant, Dom DeMarco's gold medal for best pizza, best Italian restaurant, best outdoor dining. The pasta is incredible. He has the happiest of happy hours. We have a special guest here, but first I'm going to turn it over to the guy that got this whole podcast started. Albert, how are we today?
Oh, we're fine, Tommy. It's a great day here in Dom DeMarco's. We have Dom DeMarco Jr. with us today.
We have Dom DeMarco Jr. with us today.
Good afternoon.
How are you, Dom?
Doing great. Doing great.
Here from Brooklyn, New York.
Great to be back in Vegas. Yeah.
Before we get to your whole story and how the pizzeria came about with DiFara in Brooklyn, we want to remind people to send their questions in to Slice and Sip Podcast at domdemarcos.com. That's Slice and Sip Podcast at domdemarcos.com. I'll put a link in the show notes to that. Also, what we'd like you to do is help us grow this show, and you're going to do that very easily by rate and reviewing the show. Give us 5 stars. Nice comments are always appreciated. Albert, what's going on here for April? I understand we got a special beer for our $4 beer for April.
Yeah, $4 for the whole month of April. Cali Squeeze Blood Orange. It's really a hot item right now. It's going like crazy, so we figured we'd push it out there for $4 and see how many we could sell.
Love it. You going to do anything special for Cinco de Mayo?
Oh, we have all big plans for Cinco de Mayo, both on the food, on the liquor front. We're going to have all kind of things going on. I think we'll have mini bottles of Modelo and all kind of surprises, some tequilas. It's going to be rocking and rolling here for Cinco de Mayo.
Probably just like St. Patrick's Day, you'll probably run out of everything again.
Well, I hope not. I apologize to the people who came here Sunday from 4 o'clock on. We bought so many corned beefs. We thought we would have 2 or 3 left over. And it was so delicious that by Sunday at 4 o'clock, we were out. And we had some people who I apologize to profusely come in from Henderson and from Pahrump, especially for the corned beef. And I just felt so bad we were out of it. I apologize for that. But it won't happen next year.
No, it will not. And the reason we have Dom Jr. here is, as we said on the previous show, David Portnoy was here. He did his one bite, everybody knows the rules, and gave a 7.9. Although it was the highest in Las Vegas, it didn't fit your standards. So you get the 7.9 and you make a call to Dom and what'd you tell Dom?
I said to Dom, David was here. I said, the nicest guy in the world. And I want, if David ever listens to this, I want him to know I appreciate him coming here. And the business has been up about 30 to 40% for the last 4 weeks since he's been here. But I want to thank him for all this independent pizza guys that he's helped out through the years. Yeah. He just does a wonderful job. But he said our pizza was a little thicker than Dom's, so I said to Dom, come on out here, we'll make some pizzas together. And we tightened it up. We made it a little thinner. We stretched it out a little bit. And if he's ever in Vegas again, I wish he'd come back.
We're inviting him. This is a formal invitation to David Portnoy to come back out. I know he's only done it a few times, but you've gone to the length of bringing Dom Jr. out here to figure it out, to make it identical to the DiFara in Brooklyn. That got an 8.1, 8.4?
No, that got a 9.4.
9.3? What is it?
9.4.
9.4. So we got to get a 9.4 here. I mean, it's the same pizza. So, Dave, I mean, you got to come back out. I got a picture. I got a picture in the show notes to show you what's happened since Dom's come here. And you got to come back out and try it. One bite, everybody knows the rules. You didn't say one visit, I don't come back. It's only one bite, everybody knows the rules.
I think that he's gone back to 2 places from all I could find out. The 2 places he went back to, but that's it.
We're going to make it 3.
I hope so. The guy's a really nice guy. I just really like him.
And Albert, speaking of pizza, coming up here at Dom DeMarco's, you're going to start a pizza eating championship that begins on April 13th with the first round and ends May 11th with the championship. It's going to be every Saturday at noon. If you're interested, well, go to Slice and Sip Podcast at domdemarcos.com and you can enter your name in there. It's a $20 one-time entrance fee that gets you the pizza, a drink, and I understand a Dom DeMarco's hat. The deal is you have to consume one 12-inch cheese pizza as fast as possible. There are some rules. They can get those to you there, but the first person to finish the pizza wins a ticket to the championship. And if you don't win, well, there's a wild card option for the fastest time that did not win will receive an invite to the championship. You can sign up again through Slice and Sip Podcast at domdemarcos.com. You're playing for $500 cash, cold hard cash. Second place, a $50 gift card to Dom DeMarco's. And third, a $25 gift card to Dom DeMarco's. It's the Dom DeMarco's Vegas Local Pizza Eating Championship. And Dom, welcome to the Slice and Sip Podcast.
Thank you. Thank you.
So your story goes way back to your father, back to 1965 in the war.
Right.
And he's got to come to America. So tell me and my listeners, how does your father come from Caserta, Italy? How does he get to America?
Well, he grew up in Caserta, the hills of Naples, and he grew up on a farm. There was nothing around except neighboring farms way down the roads. So what you did there was you made stuff on the farm, and you went down to the end of the road and you traded it with another farm. You might trade them cheese, they might give you prosciutto, things like that. But then after World War II, 1945, things started getting bad, and people were starving in Italy. They were hungry. So he came to America. He's a naturalized citizen because he was born in Italy, but his father was a bread maker, and he was a citizen in America. So when my father was born, he was a naturalized citizen, even though he was born in Italy. So my great-grandfather, my grandfather, he came here, to make money too and make bread. He was a baker, he went back there. So my father, after the war, when things were not so great, he with $30 in his pocket, he came on a ship, and he went to Long Island because there were farms there, and he slept in a loft in the barn, $30 in his pocket, and he worked on the farm, and then he made his way to Brooklyn. And from there, he opened up a place called Little Venice, and it wasn't too great. He didn't do too well in the area that he was in. So he put money down on another location that I don't recall. He was telling me this story. I don't recall where the location was, but he put money on it, and he was driving past Avenue J with his father, and he was looking around. He saw it was a very mixed, bustling neighborhood, and he goes to his father. He goes, "I'm going to open up over there," and then. His father said, you put money down on this place. You got this place already. And he goes, no, I'm going to let that money go. Let them keep it. I'm going to open over there. So he went from having the $30 in his pocket, working hard, having some money. He let that other money go for that place, went to Avenue J, and the story begins there in 1965. The equipment we still have in there is from 1965, and you could probably take a sledgehammer to it and not dent it.
This is true because the stuff they made back then lasts. The stuff they make today doesn't last.
It's incredible.
Yeah.
It doesn't break down. The dough machine, the oven, everything is just, the pizza is made on the same marble as from back then.
Wow.
The square pans that we use, the cast iron square pans, are still from 1965. So if you get a square slice in our place, you're eating a square that's seasoned from 1965.
Well, you said
so you have some 1965 in you when you're there.
You said he came over and started in Long Island.
He went to work on a farm. That's what he knew how to do.
Yeah. Did he come through Ellis Island?
Yeah.
Did come through Ellis. Fantastic story. So then I understand all your products and stuff come from Italy to this day. Did that start back then as well?
He would only use Italian products. Well, back then, things were a little different because what happened was he always was known to make great pizza. But when the 80s hit, the 1980s, the neighborhood, which was a very mixed neighborhood, it was Jewish, Polish, Italian, Greek, and the neighborhood was changing. So as time was going on into the late 80s, everybody was leaving that wasn't kosher. The last place that was there that wasn't kosher. It was a Greek diner. So they came over to my father and they said, "What are you doing? Everybody's got to go." They said, "We're not going to survive here." So then my father, he didn't want to leave. When in the 70s, he changed the pizzeria, the facade, and inside they did construction because everybody around the stores down the side were changing. And when they did construction on the store, he cried because the store was being changed. So he sat in the dining area of the pizzeria and he was tearing up because he saw the way it was from the beginning, from 1965 changing. But what was going on was, as back to the story, he said to himself, "I'm just going to try to make the greatest pizza that I know how to do. And it's going to bring people from outside the neighborhood." So we started going around to the farmer's market, and we were going around with him, and he would pick out the basil, pick out the tomatoes, test everything. And then he started changing the ingredients to be the highest quality that he felt was the highest quality. He would taste everything and started using those qualities of ingredients and made the pizza the way he would do it just for him if he was going to make it personally for himself instead of the way people did it commercially and things like that. And people started just, bake it and they will come. They started just coming in from outside the neighborhood and it all began there. And we survived.
Has it always been called DiFara from 1965?
It was always called DiFara. Our last name is DeMarco. Right?
Okay.
And my father had a partner that was named Frankie Farah. So they put the name together with the D for the DiFara from DeMarco and Farah. And it's a funny story is, the pizza was good pizza back then. Farah went back to Italy at the end of the 70s. And when they opened the store, Farah made a rule where he said, if anybody leaves this place, you're only going to get the money that you put in back. You're not going to get any extra money for anything. You're going to get what you put in. So my father's like, okay, cool. So he goes back to Italy in the 70s. Eventually, my father does this thing where he made the pizza the best he could imagine. So suddenly, Farah's calling him up saying, you owe me some more money. And my father's like, no. You said to put in the money that you put, so I gave it to you. But when the place started picking up like that, suddenly Farah wants a little more money, which he didn't get. But that's the way it went.
So how young were you when you first remember being in the pizzeria and working?
My father took me there. I was 7 years old. He brought us there a couple times a week just to hang out. That's where, to be honest, my mother wasn't a great cook. So when I was there, I was like, veal parmesan. He would just put all this stuff in front of us and we're like, oh, this is the place. This is I remember climbing the bags of flour. They would stock the bags of flour really high, and I was a little kid, and I would climb up to the top and sit on the top of the bags of flour. But I was 7 years old. I was 7 when I made my first pie. I was 7 years old. My father always was the kind of guy. My uncle Johnny was also a partner in the pizzeria. It was my father, my Uncle Johnny, and Frankie Farah. So my father, he was kind of strict, and if he saw me doing something, he would be like, don't do that. Like the Zeppelis, there would be a vat of hot oil, and the batter would be there for the Zeppelis, and I would watch my father do it, and then he'd have to go in the front, so he'd be like, don't touch that dough, don't go near that vat of oil. So he would go in the front, and my uncle would be like, you know how to do that, right? And I was like, yeah. And I started doing it. He's like, keep doing it. Don't listen to your father, keep doing it. And it began with that, and then I was making pizza, and but I started working full-time. I was like 12 years old.
So even going through school, you were going to school and then working at the pizzeria.
I left school.
You left school?
Yeah, because as the workers that my father had would end up leaving or quitting, when there was only one more worker there, he started bringing us in, my older brother than me, and it began there. I returned to school eventually later on, but at that time I had to leave school to.
So what grade did you leave school?
High school.
Did you ever go back and get a GED or anything?
Yeah, I got a college degree.
Got a college degree.
But but I had to do what I had to do. And I helped my father out, and it was just something instinct. It was the family. I was like, my father, he's in trouble. Do what he says.
Right.
Another thing with my father was what we used to do at the end of the day. When the day was over, we were talking 11 o'clock at night. We would go in the back. We'd pull up a garbage pail and sit on the garbage pail and put the food in front of us for dinner. So we would sit there. I would sit next to him on the other garbage pail, and we'd be like this. He would open a bottle of wine, and he'd look at me, and then he would start complaining. And I realized that if I ever disagreed, we would get into kind of big battles. So I realized if I just say yes to everything he says, I'll get away with a lot of things. So whatever he would say, I would be like, yeah, you're right. I probably said yes to things I shouldn't have said yes to, because sometimes I would not hear because he would keep talking. And I'd be like, yep, yes, that's smart. Oh, you know the deal. And I would and he realized I was doing that when he started laughing. And he put my brother, goes, look, whatever I say, he says yes. I was like, yes, yes.
Did you guys ever get into homemade wine?
My father I got a bottle of wine when he first made wine. I got one bottle that's in the basement, all dusted up, but it's, he was making wine for a while.
Wow.
Yeah, he was incredible. The things that he knew, the things that would come out of his mind when he was starting to pick out the ingredients, that all is because of how he grew up on that farm. There was nothing there. It was, I remember we went to, after my grandfather died, we went there and I visited his house where he grew up. Very rustic, small, like kind of villa-looking type of place. And I remember when I went up to see the restroom, it was just a block of concrete, like with a hole in the middle. And I remember thinking like, wow, this is where he grew up in this kind of environment. And all you would see off the side of the hill was a valley. Nothing there either, just a valley. No farms, no houses, just a valley. That's what he would see whenever he would walk down the hill of his farm. It was just a valley. Beautiful valley, but nothing else around. And he had to barter with other things. But that's why he knows what to do. He would climb up fig trees and pick figs. And he would love just to climb up there. He missed Italy tremendously. And the first time he went there was when my grandfather died. He took me with him. I was 7 years old. And we'd go up to the land. I'm thinking, oh, we're in Italy. We're going to go do all these kind of things. Wow, we're going to have fun. And all he wanted to do was lay in the grass on the farmland where he grew up. And he inherited the farm from my grandfather. And he just lay there. That was all he liked to do. And make sandwiches, have picnics. He would just set himself up on the land and lay down, fall asleep, eat. And, yeah.
So, Dom, when did the pizzeria in Brooklyn really start to take off to where it is now? I mean, it's a namesake. It's number one. You pull up Zagat, it's number one pizzeria in New York, number one in the East Coast. So when did it get this huge fame? When did it go from your father going, I'm going to make the best pizza I can for myself, to being this global name?
It was really incredible. Like, what happened is when people started realizing how good the pizza was and the word started spreading, there was no internet at this time. It was all word of mouth. And they would come there, and my father, he's just going to make that pizza. He's going to concentrate on that pizza. So the line started getting very huge. People would be standing at the counter complaining about that it was taking so long, and then some customer that knew the deal would just turn around and look at him and say, it's worth the wait. It's worth the wait. Just calm down. That's what they would say to them. And then suddenly this slogan developed of it's worth the wait. So we didn't make it up. Customers just started looking at each other saying it's worth the wait. And even that slogan just started spreading around. And people would wait, and they would wait the 2 hours. If you told my father, make my pie this way, make it a little light, make it like this, make it like that, he would just look at them and he would give them the pie the way he wanted. And you had to accept it the way he gave it to you because he felt that was perfection. And if you didn't like it, that was your problem. And people would get angry at him. They might not come back at you because they were mad that he wouldn't do it the way they said, but he made it the way he wanted to, and he felt that was perfect. And that he thought he was giving you something great, and he wanted you to appreciate that. But it went from there, and it kept growing and growing and growing, and it was an amazing thing. No internet, it wasn't happening yet. It was really in its infancy, and it went from there, which is
I think the New York Times wrote a beautiful article.
Yeah.
And then Daniel Boulud, the famous chef, he was doing an interview, and they asked him his 4 favorite restaurants in New York. And he named 2 fancy French joints, and then he said, but when I want pizza, I go out to see my friend Dom DeMarco over in Midwood in Brooklyn. He said, best pizza ever had in my life.
Yeah, the article of the Times, I believe the title was Charred Bubbles. Charred Bubbles is the way they explained that article.
And when you guys first opened, though, you had a huge menu, right?
We had sandwiches. We had a whole thing going on. Oh, amazing things. Well, what we used to do was we would start cooking for ourselves, in the afternoon. And whoever was in the know, because it was at the beginning, it was really people that were in the know, and it kind of spread from there. Then the people in the know were like, oh, no, why'd we go tell everybody about this? Because now we're not just in the know anymore. Now we got to wait 2 hours, but that's what used to happen with them. But we used to start cooking things like used to make orange roughy, the sauce amazing with that fish, all kinds of things, squirrel with spare ribs, and we'd make these big vats of sauce for us. But if you were in the know, you knew we were doing that. So you would come and say, can I have what you're having tonight? And we would give them a bowl of it. My father would charge them whatever we'd charge them. But if you were in the know, you got what we were going to eat. You ate it before us because we had to wait till the end of the night to eat.
Yeah.
So you got our dinner before we got our dinner. But, that's the way it began.
Now his favorite sauce was the sauce made with the rabbit.
He loved rabbit.
The Caniglio.
He loved rabbit. Yeah.
You know, we're sitting here in Dom DeMarco's in Las Vegas, and Al's told the story beautifully about how long it took to get this place open and to make the deal with you and your father. But how many people have tried to come in and say, hey, we want to do a partner with you, but Albert's the one that got it done.
All over the place.
All over the world?
Yeah. I mean, as soon as it started getting the notoriety, people would come in. I remember seeing Al and Jeff. They came in, right? And my father's there making the pizza. If you can get him to look at you, you were lucky. If you can get him to turn around and acknowledge you were lucky. But I remember looking at Al and Jeff, and I was like, there's something about these guys. I was like, Al, he seems like that kind of scrappy guy that when he does a business, he's in there. He's right in there, you know, like involved in the whole thing going on. And Jeff seemed to be more of the technical guy. And I was like, but they look like they know what they're doing, you know. So when they were talking to my father, I took notice. And I was like, there's something about these guys. They know what's up. They know what they're doing, which is hard to find.
Yeah. I'm not just saying this because he's sitting here next to me, but Albert's one of the most stand-up guys I've met in a long time, for sure. And, you know, what does it mean to you and your family to have a pizza place in Las Vegas named after your father?
That it's an amazing thing because my father's not named DiFara. You know, it's the namesake store. Mm-hmm. So that's an amazing thing because I always think to myself, like, well, it should be like something with his name because it's him. You know, he made everything like that. He was a workaholic. He was ultra Italian. Everything had to be Italian. He used to listen. When we were in Italy, we'd go to these small out of the way cafes, and there was this guy that was in there, and he was playing leaves, like he had leaves between his lips, and he was playing leaves like right. But he's playing these old Italian songs. My father's crying as he's playing these old Italian songs. It's like, wow, like very sentimental, these songs, and the guy's using leaves, and he's making my father cry. So Tony Bennett came there, and my father loves these old Italian world croners like Caruso.
Oh, yeah.
Everything had to be Italian. So Tony Bennett's Italian, but he's, you know, so when he comes in there and we had to close the door for him, and he had a bit of an entourage with him. And at the end, you know, they were like, you know, his helpers were like, we want to take a photo with you and Tony Bennett, with my father. And my father's standing there looking at Tony Bennett. And Tony Bennett's on the other side of the counter. Tony Bennett's looking at him like, you come over and take a picture of me. My father's looking at Tony Bennett like, you come over and take a picture of me. So Tony Bennett ends up coming across the counter and standing with my father to take a picture with him. It was a great moment. But my father, it's not that he was trying to insult Tony Bennett. He doesn't really know who these guys were. He just you know, buried himself in the pizzeria. Everything had to be from Italy. That was his way to be in Italy, was to be in there.
When did the torch, so to speak, pass from your father to you? When did that shift happen where all of a sudden now you're doing more in charge? Or did it ever?
I would never even say it was a torch being passed. We grew up in that place. So even to this day, it's not like that we're at work. You know, it's all the siblings. We go there every day in the morning when we're there. Whatever kind of little like arguments we have about each other, we'll be like, yeah, you're this, yeah, we argue. And then all of a sudden 12 o'clock hits and we're like, wait a minute, let's go. It's 12 o'clock. Everybody gets into their place. It just happens. It's been that way since we were all growing up. It's the synergy is also what makes the pizza great. Is that the synergy of what everybody's doing and how they know what to do. So we just have been doing this, you know, down the line. Then when my father went, which you never thought was going to happen because you thought he was superhuman the way he was. But when he left, when he was gone, when he died, we just kept going and kept continuing what we did. I wouldn't say something was past. It just was the evolution as it kept going. And some people will come in now and they'll say, your father retired before he died, right? And I'm like, he never retired. He didn't believe in retirement. He wouldn't retire. What happened was, as he was getting older, he would slow down a bit, and he'd say he was up to making 10 pies a day by himself as we jumped in and made the rest of the pies. He would sit in the back, have a glass of wine, get up, let me make a few pies. He'd put the apron on, go in the front and make a few pies. Well, to say the 10 pies became 8, which became 5, glass of wine between all of this, which became 2, another glass of wine, and then eventually he's making 1 pie a day. Then eventually he gets up, puts the apron on, takes it off again and says, let me have another sip of wine. And then he just kind of stopped making pizza without probably even the knowledge of himself.
Yeah.
Stopping the pizza. He just took the apron off, sat and had the wine, but didn't continue. But he never retired. He didn't believe in it.
Being you're so immersed and your family is in the pizzeria and you're always there, when do you find time to write children's books?
Well, my son actually is into writing children's books. Just a writer. When I went to college, I just I found it was a good way to express myself. So I'll write. I write about the pizzeria in a newsletter on DiFara Pizza Underground. It's called. It's on Substack. But my son he's an artist and he's looking to make children's books. But I'm just a writer by nature. So I have a lot to say. Sometimes too much, but writing's just naturally part of me. That's what I went to school to do. But yeah.
I'm going to ask you this, and then Albert, I want your answer on this as well. Where do you see the future for pizza? Because it seems like pizza is evolving and it's expanding amongst, the Sicilian and the margarita, and the basic pizza that we all know and love is still there, but it seems to be we're expanding now. We're putting different things on pizza and we're trying different styles of pizza. I mean, is there an end to it?
Like my father, he was a pizza purist. He didn't believe in the pineapple on the pizza. He believed in it being just the way that it just should have been from where he came from, But they're doing a lot of crazy things on pizza now. I came across a pizza that was made with barbecue sauce instead of regular sauce, and I'm like, okay, it's kind of strange. Barbecue, that's pizza?
They got dessert pizza. They got white pizza.
I've had a pizza with a pickle on it. If I've come across that. The pineapple pizza, I actually didn't think was too bad.
That's what Elvis said in the last show. He liked
dug it. But I wouldn't have told my father that, Might have threw a slice at me or something. I would have to dodge it. Like, okay, all right, no pineapple.
I mean, one of the things that's
yes.
One of the things that's gone well here for Albert is this spicy pizza, because the spicy thing is exploding.
That's a thing.
Are you seeing it too?
I think we might have actually began it, because my father, as he was walking around picking out these ingredients, we used to go to a place called Coluccio, little Italian shop, not too far from us, and he found these Calabrian peppers that were expensive. But he would put them on the counter, and you could take them with a spoon and put them on the pizza, and it was really good, which we still use to this day. So suddenly now they're having hot honey sauce.
Yes.
But when nobody started with these Calabrian peppers, it was him, and I think it kind of began with that. Even the basil on the pizza. You never saw that until he started clipping basil on the pizza. He was the archetype for, I think, a lot of stuff that you are seeing now happening in New York and kind of what exploded everywhere else. Is what I feel.
What do you see in Albert, like expansion with this pizza, people wanting stuff on their pizzas now?
Well, the old timers that come in, they still go for the thin crust New York style or the Sicilian. But the younger generation, they want the pineapple pizza. They want the spicy pizza. They want new things. So I just go along with it. He was talking about his dad with the pineapple. My wife was the same way. She was a great pizza over herself, but she wouldn't put pineapple. It took me 2 years. I said, honey, people want to pay for it. What do you care with that? No, I can't. But now we sell a hell of a lot and I love it. I love the pineapple pizza. And I like the spicy pizza with the Mike's Hot Honey, the Calabrian chilies, the Calabrian salami. And hey, listen, it's going, so you just go with the flow. Whatever. My motto is, whatever you like, we want to give you the best of it that we can.
You know what I noticed? I was just at the Pizza Expo last week, and what I was really shocked about in the last couple of years I've been there, it's getting more and more plant-based. It's like it was half, and now it seems like it's almost 75% of the places you go to have some sort of plant-based thing, whether it's cheese or it's the whole pizza. I mean, are you guys getting that? Or, I mean, are you even going to switch to that? I mean, if the purists aren't, you're not going to probably switch.
No, we're just going with what we've always done. We're not really adding anything. Like the only thing that we ever change is if some kind of new soda that's unique or something comes in, we'll start supplying that. We don't change anything. It's just nature now. It's just second nature to everything. Sometimes people would say, what's it like? How do you know how to do these things? And I would say, well, to me, it's like brushing your teeth. It's something I've done since I was a child. I wake up and I just go and you know what to do. Mm-hmm. You kind of click into a place. Like I'll enter that pizzeria and then suddenly something takes me over and I'm with my mind, I just focus on what's like straight on what we're doing. And we're not trying to think like, hey, if we do this or do that. I came up with an idea that I was like, you know what, this could be something interesting, So I'm not usually like that, but I always try to think what could be innovative. So I was like, what if there was like a surf and turf pizza? So what if you made a clam pizza, like a white pie clam pizza, and then put like bolognese sauce in the crust with some mozzarella on it? So you're eating this beautiful white clam pizza. You get to the crust, then you have bolognese inside the crust. You got a surf and turf pizza. So I don't know. That's usually not like me to say, hey, let me think of a sales pitch, But I always try to think what can make things better. So what can innovate things. But I don't really think of anything changing.
Well, the old saying is you don't fix what's not broke, and obviously it's not broke. It's working. All the accolades speak for themselves from your side to the restaurant we're sitting here, and all the awards it's got. The pizza speaks for itself. The food speaks for itself. Albert's Pasta speaks for itself. This place speaks for itself. The patio is absolutely gorgeous, people. And if you've not been here, you are missing out. 9785 West Charleston Boulevard is where you have to come. We have happy hour from 2 to 6 and 2 to 4. It's the happiest of happy hours. If you're not coming, I got to ask you a question. I mean, why? I want to know why.
And not just the pizza, the food will blow you away.
Oh, agree.
Okay, I've been eating here every day since I've been here. It's just, I'm like, wow. It's amazing.
Yeah.
It's amazing.
Well, Dom, thanks for coming in and being on the show.
Thank you, everybody.
And
come see me in Brooklyn.
Yeah, come see him.
Come
see him
come
in
say
Brooklyn.
Hi in Vegas. Come say hi to me in Vegas.
That's right.
Yeah,
exactly. And for you, I mean, you make a call. The guy comes out. We've made the call to Portnoy. We got to make it again. He's got to get his butt out here and try it again, right?
Yeah.
Oh, I wish he would.
Yeah.
We're here.
I mean, I know that he's known to only review once, but it has happened. I believe that he might have done it a couple times more. So let's see.
That's right. So before we go, folks, make sure you do Albert a big thing and rate and review the show. 5 stars, nice comments will help us with the ranking of the show. And then send your questions in. Slice and Sip Podcast at domdemarcos.com. That's Slice and Sip Podcast at domdemarcos.com. One last thing I want you to do. If you're listening to this, thank you. But I want you to send this to somebody else who's not listening to this. And we want to expand and grow Slice and Sip Podcast by the Pizza Gang here at Dom DeMarco's Pizzeria and Wine Bar. Albert, any last comments before we wrap her up today?
Well, like I always say, if you're not eating at Dom DeMarco's, you're missing the boat.
There is nothing better to end it with that. We'll see everybody
Best in Vegas.
next time on Slice and Sip.
Thank you, Tommy. That was great.
I'm a lover of the pizza all of the time. I'm a lover of the pizza, all of the time, all of the time. I'm a lover of the pizza all of the time. Give me a little P-I-C-A. That's a pizza. I'm a like the spaghetti, some of the time. I'm a like spaghetti, some of the time. I'm a like the spaghetti, some of the time. But I'm a love the pizza all of the time. I'm a love the pizza all of the time. I'm a love the pizza all of the time.